The cat who sat through the sirens. When the alarm screamed and the city ordered everyone to run. One cat did the unthinkable. He sat down and waited. The night the city panicked. The sirens began softly, like a distant warning no one wanted to believe. A low mechanical hum crept through alleyways, sliding between buildings and under doors. People paused mid-step, phones in hand, hearts unsure whether to race or wait. Then the sound grew louder. Sharper. Angrier. Red emergency lights flashed across walls and windows, painting the city in panic. Screens buzzed. Alerts screamed. The message was clear and unforgiving: evacuate immediately. Doors burst open as families poured into the streets. Shoes were forgotten. Bags dropped. Parents clutched children while voices cracked with fear. Cars collided as everyone tried to leave at once, the city choking on its own urgency. The old Northbridge Hospital stood in the center of the chaos, its windows dark and silent. It had been marked cleared, forgotten during renovations, erased from the list of priorities. To the city, it was already empty. But on the front steps, beneath flickering emergency lights, sat a small orange tabby cat. His fur was dusty, his tail bent slightly at the tip, his nose marked by a thin white scar. He didn't flinch. He didn't run. While the city panicked and fled, the cat stayed still, ears twitching, eyes fixed on the hospital doors. His name was Echo, and tonight, he was listening. The cat no one counted. Echo had lived around the hospital for years. He knew its rhythm, the shift changes, the quiet hours, the nights when rain leaked through broken gutters. He belonged to the forgotten corners. Nurses once fed him scraps. Patients smiled when he passed their windows. Over time, fewer people came, and eventually, no one stayed. But Echo remained, adapting, surviving. Tonight, humans rushed past him without a glance. Fear narrowed their vision. To them, Echo was invisible, just another stray in a city full of problems. But Echo felt something wrong beneath the noise. Not the sirens. Not the shouting. Something deeper. Something uneven. From inside the hospital came a faint sound, broken, fragile, irregular. A rhythm that didn't match the chaos outside. Echo's ears flattened as his body tensed. It was breathing. Weak. Human. And it was coming from inside a building everyone believed was empty. The child in room 312. 3 floors above the street, in a room marked for demolition, a little boy lay trapped beneath shattered ceiling tiles. Dust coated his hair and lips. His chest rose unevenly. His name was Miles. He had been waiting for his mother to return with coffee. She had promised she'd be back in 2 minutes. The first tremor knocked him off the bed. The second collapsed the ceiling. The third stole the lights and the warmth and the sound of footsteps. Miles tried to call out, but the siren swallowed his voice. His throat burned. His arms were pinned. Panic tightened around his chest like a fist. He didn't know everyone had left. He didn't know the building was marked unstable. He only knew he was alone, and it hurt to breathe. And somewhere far below, a cat heard him, sirens versus instinct. Echo stood at the hospital entrance, tail flicking once. Every instinct told him to flee. Animals survive by escaping danger. But the sound came again, weaker this time. A shallow inhale. A struggling exhale. Echo turned toward the darkness. Glass crunched beneath his paws as he entered. The air was thick with dust and smoke. Emergency lights flickered like dying stars. He climbed the stairs slowly, pausing when the building groaned. Each step burned his paws. Each sound made his ears twitch. Fear followed him, but purpose led him. Echo moved not because he was brave, but because something inside him refused to stop. When he reached the 3rd floor, the sound was close. Room 312. The door hung open like a wound. The sound that changed everything. Echo leapt onto the rubble, claws scraping tile and concrete. The smell of fear and dust filled his nose. Beneath the debris lay a small human, eyes wide, chest shaking. Echo met his gaze. The cat opened his mouth and screamed. Not a meow, a roar, tearing cry that cut through the sirens outside. Again. Louder. Desperate. Echo screamed until his throat burned. Outside, a firefighter stopped mid-run. "Did you hear that?" he asked, heart pounding. Against orders, against protocol, they turned back. Collapse. The rescue team reached the third floor just as the building shuddered violently. Cracks raced across the walls like lightning. "We don't have much time," someone shouted. Echo climbed onto Miles's chest, pressing his warm body against the boy. He purred, deep, loud, relentless. Miles focused on the vibration, on the warmth, on the living thing refusing to leave him. Then the ceiling screamed. Darkness swallowed them as the hospital collapsed. Silence. The sirens stopped. Dust filled the air. The city held its breath. Rescuers dug through rubble with shaking hands. Minutes blurred into hours. A voice shouted, "We found him." Miles was pulled free, coughing but alive. Then someone else froze. "There's a cat." Echo was curled tightly around the boy, paw resting over his chest. He was still purring after the alarms. Echo survived with a limp and a scarred paw. Miles survived with a story the world needed to hear. News cameras called it a miracle. Scientists called it instinct. Miles called it friendship. A plaque now stands where the hospital once stood. Evacuation saved thousands. One cat saved one life. And every year, Echo still sits and listens, just in case someone needs him again. If Echo's story touched your heart, right pointing back hand index like this video. Subscribe for more powerful animal hero stories. Comment "He stayed" if you believe animals are braver than we think. Your support helps these stories reach the world.